to just talk to you about a few maps today. Here's a diabetes map of the United States. You can see where diabetes is most prevalent throughout the Southeast. No car, no supermarket within a mile of a residence. You can see that that's a similar map. I don't know how well you can see these, but those are all related to the same thing. You can see where it's concentrated in the Southeast. Here's a cancer map. Just take note that the highest rates of cancer are in the Mississippi River Delta system, or in the Mississippi River system. And I want you to think about the topography of the soil and where the most valuable farmland is, and that farmers and their children are far more highly exposed to carcinogenic pesticides than the average person in the population. This is the obesity map by county in the United States. You can see that that's also a similar pattern. Strokes, much the same. There's another cancer map put out by the CDC, much the same. Notice the Mississippi River Delta and the river system. Again, think about the topography of the soil in these areas, of the terrain, and where the best farmland might be. Down by the river where it's nice and flat and efficient to row crop. It's where the most pesticide is applied as well, which is also water soluble. So it gets in the river system and it evaporates into the air and comes down as rain and gets everywhere. Glyphosate bread. There you go. Take a few minutes and look at that. That's 1990 to 2010. This is interesting for those of you who have or have friends with children with autism. This is a bar graph that shows the relationship between glyphosate use and autism rates in 6-year-olds. It's pretty striking. I don't know how it could be how it could track more closely. That's 1993 to 2010. This is the expansion of genetically modified crops from 1970 to 2018, looks like. This is interesting. Corn, glyphosate use, and the inverse relationship between insects in the fields. Now, if the insect population is going down so much, what's happening up the food chain from the insects? What's happening down the food chain from the insects? Roundup tolerant, genetically modified crops. Glyphosate pound applied from 1992 to 2014. Glyphosate applied on corn and soybeans from 1995 to 2010. This is where the fruits are grown in the United States. Notice hardly any in the Southeast. The migrant labor laws are a deterrent to fruit and vegetable production, at least commercial fruit and vegetable production in many of the southeastern states. And that's where the highest rates of obesity, cancer, and all these diseases are. And there's a reason for it. And there's an inverse relationship between fiber intake and cancer rates. As the fiber intake goes up, the cancer rates come down. This is fruit and vegetables and their water content. I'm showing you this because cauliflower, which is used in many low-carb products, is 92% water. And so we have a supply chain solution for that. This is where Moroccan millet grows. Grows in every state in the United States and Canada, every inhabited continent. But it can certainly supply the Southeast and reduce cancer rates, obesity, and diabetes throughout the Southeast. It's a ketogenic friendly grain. This is it. This is it right here. And it's a rhizome perennial crop. So it just keeps growing and growing. You don't really have to plant it once it gets going. And ketogenic friendly grain. I have a pan of it here, the grain. I wish you could smell this. It smells so nostalgic, like your grandmother's kitchen. I put it in the toaster oven. I just kind of picked it with my hands and put it in the toaster oven and dried it out a little bit, and it smells like a dream. It really does. It smells like some nostalgic dream, like you walked into a bakery somewhere. Certainly smells better than white bread. And there's acres of prime farmland in the United States, and then a little plug for KetoDoughCo.com. But anyway, one of these seeds can result in 80,000 of these plants, which stand about this tall. On the bottom they have a rhizome. This rhizome can actually communicate with another rhizome 200 feet away from it. It's all a community. And you can come along and cut the grain off with a combine with the header raised up really high, and just kind of cut off the grain. And or you can cut the whole thing and extract the grain for ketogenic baked goods, and then use the stalk and the leaves for cattle forage or bioenergy. You can put it in a biomass boiler. So there's multiple applications for this crop. We've been using it for a long time. Moroccan millet. This is actually my grandfather back in the 50s on our farm, and he looks like he's cutting it there. You can see the broad leaves, similar to these. These have been dried, of course. You can see the broad leaves in the grain in the picture, and what he's doing there is blowing it into the back of the truck there for silage and forage. I wanted to talk to you about regenerative agriculture, and if you don't mind, I'll use this as a pointer. But so we have animal agriculture is very necessary in the regeneration of soils. I actually need to come down here because these are ruminant animals, and they can digest things and turn that into fertilizer for the soils. Chickens can do the same things, and on certain soil types that have a certain type of clay in them that has unlimited phosphorus binding capabilities, you protect any leaching of phosphorus, you protect your water table. Has unlimited kaolinic clay, has unlimited phosphorus binding capabilities, and you can find these soils throughout the southeast. But through regenerative agriculture, I'll step over here, we're reducing cancer rates, diabetes, obesity, pesticide use, added sugars, and carbohydrates. Here you see we have an inverse relationship between fiber. Increase the fiber, decrease the cancer. If you look at that map and you remember back to like fruit and vegetable production, where there's fruit and vegetables produced and where there's cancer, it's an inverse relationship there. And then unfortunately, fruit and vegetables have a lot of water, so there's a supply chain issue. Soil regeneration, plants, ingredients, animals, KetoDoughCo.com. Thank you.